What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. One more week to
Yeah!
go before the
Let's go!
UAAP
I'm
season.
so hyped! Look at the
Me
new
too, man.
background!
May bago
We have
tayong
a new
background.
background!
Season 87 na talaga, bago na background natin no?
Palaban na,
Um,
palaban na.
ready na. But before tayo manood ng Season 87 this coming week, one more week to go, syempre kailangan natin GiddiYap's Power Rankings. Kita nyo naman sa video description sa baba. We're going to do our preseason Power Rankings. So bago kayo mag-react sa mga listeners natin, this is going to be based on the off-season, the preseason. Hindi natin alam obviously what the performance will be during the season. So, magbabago to. But based on what we've seen, the entire off-season, ito yung power rankings ni Mr. Maui Yap. So, umpisahan mo na, Mr. Maui Yap, sa ating power rankings. Ano ba tayo? Top to bottom to top? Top to bottom?
Bottom to top tayo kahit
Bottom
medyo
up tayo
predictable
today.
predictable ang top.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the controversial first. Una yung controversial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sige, game. Bottom of your power rankings, Mr. Maui Yap. Sino ang nasa bottom mo?
So, the bottom of my power rankings is the team that did not win, diba, in the early part of the preseason. They only won against a UAAP team recently, diba, sa Taiwan against UE. It's our alma mater, Ateneo. Again, this is not, as Sammy mentioned, this is not a prediction, diba, of where we will see teams will be by the end of the season, diba. Ateneo can peak. I think Ateneo can still peak and fight for the Final Four slot. But based on what we've seen during the off-season, especially during the start, hanggang Phil Oil, the big tournaments, Pinoy Liga, Ateneo was abysmal during those tournaments, diba? They did not win a single game despite having Mason Amos, and then they lost Mason Amos very close to the end of the preseason after their training in Australia. This is probably the first time we've ever seen Ateneo in the bottom of the power rankings in the Tab Baldwin era. Diba? Even during the time of sila Thirdy Ravena naman, we did not expect them to finish last. We did not rank them as last right before the season. But things are looking up, diba? You guys saw how they started to play better during the end of the preseason with some of the tournaments they played on. We've been also hearing that they've been beating most of the teams that they've been facing sa practice games against NCAA, and both NCAA and UAAP teams. I think they won all of their games except for the one against St. Benil. Which is diba, the favorite naman for the NCAA.
Ibang level yung Binild ngayon
The strategy of Binild is basically to get UAAP players who are unhappy with their playing time, diba?
Big dance champions yun. Binild.
Big dance champions.
Big dance champions.
Shout out to Benny and Pinoy Liga sa Big Dance.
Shout out to Benny and Pinoy Liga for that successful Big Dance tournament. I'm hoping we see another big dance also for next season. But Ateneo will be parading a lot of rookies and sophomores, as we mentioned, throughout the whole off season. It's interesting to see kasi this is the first time na hindi intact ang Ateneo, barring except probably the first year of Coach Tab, when 7 players I think had to transfer because of grades. So we'll see this season how Coach Tab will lead a very young Ateneo team. It's interesting to see will he still be at the helm, diba, when these players are finally seniors. And thoughts, guys.
Sad but true, Mr. Maui Up. Sad but true. Despite beating UE in the recent Taiwan tournament, that was without Precious Momoway. And you cannot discount the fact na they looked horrible in the early part and the middle part of the preseason. They lost all their games in Pinoy Liga and Phil Oil. And as I said, in our awards predictions, the expectations for Ateneo, both from us and the community and all of the opposing fans, are very low. And this, if there's ever a time for the Tab Baldwin magic to happen, it's this season. Sana may mangyaring Tab Baldwin magic because this team is just they lack experience, they lack talent, and they lack size. So, dehado talaga for this upcoming season. Although, as Maui said, there are bright spots. Recently, they've been playing better. They've been playing faster. Coach Tab has revamped, I think, their entire offensive and defensive principles. They're not anymore slowing it down every single possession. They're looking to get quick baskets. I think that's how you'll see Ateneo play. I think you'll see a version of Tab Baldwin slash Aldin Ayo out there. Just a lot of mayhem defense, mayhem trapping, pressing defense, and that's how they'll have to win, because they can't do the slow it down half court, find the best shot, because they don't have guys who can produce offense consistently. They have to be creative with how they play, with how they score. Perhaps we'll do a UP Ateneo preview. I mean, that's the big game this upcoming weekend.
Opening day game.
The opening day game. Perhaps we'll do a preview and we'll see how Ateneo fares against perhaps the number one team in the UAAP. But yeah, I agree. Ateneo's number 8. It's hard eh. This team is just not it for me. Marami pang bigas kailangan kainin tong Ateneo team na to. Again, a rookie filled with rookies and sophomores. Only 3 players have more than 1 season of UAAP experience. So, mahirap. It's gonna be a hard season for Ateneo fans. Sammy?
Yeah, can't argue with this pick. Losing Mason also definitely hurts. I think we've talked about it the entire off-season. Not being able to see Balogun also hurts them. Mahirap i-judge
Good
yung
point.
team na to because we've been watching them play without their FSA, and the one game that he played, he didn't do well. He wasn't that good. Let's just say that, diba? So that's going to be a big talking point for Ateneo this coming season. Syempre, nanggaling tayo kay Ange Kwame and si Joe Obasa. Joe Obasa, technically rookie siya last year, pero very veteran na siya, experienced na siya, and he was very solid for Ateneo. So, big shoes to fill for Balogun. And again, this is based on the preseason, off-season. We'll see how Ateneo will perform, pero I think, Gab, you said it best. Very low expectations for this team. So, tingnan natin. Moving on, Maui. Let's talk about your next pick. Number 7.
So si Gab already mentioned the team that's number 7 on our power rankings. It's the team that Ateneo beat in Taiwan. It's UE. Yeah, I think UE right now is probably the second lowest rated team to Ateneo. Mainly because they were also beaten by only by Ateneo, diba? But it's if every season under Coach Jack is an indication, anything can happen, diba? They can still make the Final Four. They still have probably the most talented FSA, the favorite to challenge Kevin Kiambao to win the MVP this season in the UAAP, Precious Momoway. They still have a lot of players coming in, but losing Remogat is a very big hit also to this UE team. They could have easily been ranked number 3, I think, in the rankings if Remogat decided to stay. That extra year of Remogat and Momoway, that tandem, two players who are probably favorites to be in the Mythical 5, could have been an easy call for UE to be able to make the Final Four. But again, similar to previous seasons, UE is going to lose one of their top players, diba? They've lost a lot of players. They've struggled to hold on to to very promising players, diba, throughout the years. And that has hurt their program. That has hurt their continuity. That has hurt yung chemistry ng team nila. Every single year, they've had to quote-unquote rebuild. But Coach Jack has been able to surprise us every season. So I think anything can still happen, diba? The whole off-season, we were actually nervous for UE, not because of Rimogat. Diba? Rimogat was a surprise to us. Momoway was the one that we thought could be the one to transfer to another school. But they still have some key players staying. We expect Lingo to take another step up. We expect Gerard Wilson to also have a very good season after that very good second round before he got injured. Jack Cruz Dumont is still coming back. He is expected to be that stabilizer for UE. Ethan Galang is still coming back. So they still have a lot of players from the previous season. It's not like before that they lost practically half their lineup, all of their key players. But I'm still rating UE at this spot just because we have to wait and see how that Rimogat effect will be able to, how they will be able to weather the storm without that primary ball handler and scorer. We've seen Jack Cruz Dumont play point guard this offseason, and it hasn't really been good to his game. He's really struggled this offseason. But maybe when both him and Gerard Wilson share the court, then maybe he can start to play better, similar to how he played in previous seasons. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, for UE, for the most part, I think they're going to be a one-man show. And I think Coach Jack addressed that during the UAAP preview by spin.ph. He said, it can't just be Precious na magdadala sa amin yung every game. Yung people have to step up. And I think that has to be the theme for UE. Who is going to step up each and every game? Because no one really has separated themselves for UE yung this offseason as the second guy beside Precious. No one has really been the clear second guy. So it depends from game to game. I think that has to be the by committee thing that we were talking about for Salle, for UE, has to be that by committee thing. Each game they have to defend. They have to find an answer of that second guy, because yung si Precious, if he's gonna get his numbers, he's gonna draw a lot of fouls, but at some point the defense is gonna zone in on him, so he needs someone else to take that pressure off. Whether it's gonna be John Abate, Gerard Wilson, as Maui said. It's good that they got back some players that we haven't seen play in a long while. Si Devin Fikes, Hunter Cruz Dumont, we finally saw. I thought it was Jack, but they look so similar.
Malaking Jack lang no?
It's a bigger Jack Cruz Dumont. So we'll see. No, losing to Ateneo in the only team to lose to Ateneo this offseason is not a good sign. So despite being without Precious, that just goes to show you how inconsistent or unproven the rest of their roster is outside of Precious Momoway. So I agree with Maui. It's gonna be a one-man show for the most part. I think for the most part, season 87, it just really depends on who and how the other guys in this roster will step up beside Precious. Sammy.
Yeah, to UE fans, don't despair so much. Probably sa UAAP, alam naman natin na the two most important positions are the center position and the point guard position. And you probably have one of the best FSAs. Kung napanood nyo yung previous episode, we gave the best FSA award to Precious Momoway. So at least you have that. At least you have that to work with. It's really the question marks on the rest of the team, diba? But baka may moments, each player may moments. So I think that's what Gab and Maui are trying to say. They could surprise. I think I agree with this number 7, but just like in previous seasons, Coach Jack can surprise. Just to add dun sa sinabi ni Maui na maraming players na umaalis, we just saw rumors na si Moore Alaw, who was supposed to join them next season, umalis na. Lumipat na ng FEU. So,
That's curious. That's
it's very
curious.
interesting because we'll talk about FEU later, but they have a top point guard there. So I don't know. I'm not sure why Moore Alaw decided to go there. We'll see. We'll find out. Moving on. Maui, sino ang number 6 mo? Maui. There. Hello? Sorry guys, technical difficulties. Maui, number 6.
Yeah, so our number 6 team is baka si Gab will probably get mad at me, but I really think this is the best spot. The best spot for them right now, it has to be Adamson. Same to UE. This is a team that surprises us, diba, every year. Coach Nash has really been, kasi Coach Nash kasi is a really stable UAAP coach, diba? So any team he has gotten, any team that he has handled has been able to fight for the Final Four slot. I don't think any one of us, maybe si Gab, can say this, but I can say that from the previous season, diba, when they lost Jerome Lastimosa early on to an ACL injury, we did not expect them to play Jerome Lastimosa, and to be able to fight for that Final Four slot, diba? Barring
si Maui. Bringing back old scars Grabe to
No. I had to say lang, di ba? Coach Nash has surprised us both on and off the court, di ba? Yung decisions niya from on and off the court last season were very controversial. But despite that, they always outperform expectations, di ba? And they still have Cedric Manzano coming in, di ba? I think that's one of their top players from last season. I think one of the biggest things that really hurt them is losing Zoem Sabandal, who was expected to probably start at point guard. Vince Magbuhos is also exiting. Hanapi is exiting Colonia. But I really like what I've seen dun sa new players nila, especially Mantua and Franzman this offseason. I really like how they play. You see, they're very consistent. They know Coach Nash's system. If there's a team that could potentially surprise us to make the Final Four, I think yung highest chances is the higher chance dun sa 3 teams below is right now Adamson in my mind. But we'll see what happens. I think that's the good thing about the coming season in the UAAP. We're gonna discuss the next teams in our power rankings, but I have to say as early as right now that any of the teams, diba, from probably 3 to 8 could make the Final Four in my opinion. So anything can happen, diba? You cannot write off any of the teams, diba? Probably starting the season on a high note, on a good note, could spell the difference into a team making the Final Four.
Oh, well, we've come to our first disagreement because I do not agree. Sa Adamson tayo palagi. It's always Adamson.
It's always Adamson, actually. Okay, this is interesting.
No, I had them number 5 on my rankings. I actually had UST as my number 6. We'll talk about that later. But Adamson's system is proven. Despite I think we saw this last season, even the season prior, even without a number 1 guy or a proven number 1 playmaker in like a Jerome Lastimosa or a Joan Sabandal, they can play. They can play and they play really well. I think they trust the system. They play tough defense. They just know how to play their system. They just know how to play good basketball, disciplined basketball, move the ball around, find the open shooter, shoot a ton of threes, find Cedric Manzano in the paint, ride Cedric Manzano when they need to ride Cedric Manzano, and also need to shoot when they need to shoot. I know the loss of Joe M. Sabandal is painful, but if you remember, late last season, they also didn't have Joe M. Sabandal. we've seen this team without Joem Sabandal and without Jerome. I don't see any reason to doubt their style of play. I don't see any reason to doubt this roster. We've seen this roster perform to a Final Four level. Maybe they haven't gotten there. They didn't go there last year, but I still think that they can challenge for that. I still think they're good enough. Yeah, si Hanapi, si Magbuos are gone, but they have immediate replacements. They still have John Kalisay, their shooter. AJ Franzman can score, a bit inefficient, but can still score, has length, and they still have Cedric Manzano.
Si Hanabo, nakalimutan mo. Your boy.
My boy, si Manu Anabo. Another guy who can shoot. I like this Adamson State team. This roster is proven that they can compete. I put UST as my number 6 because yes, they've added a bunch of talent, but this team is coming from a 1-win and a 2-win season, and we're vaulting them up to number. I don't know what number Maui has them, but above Adamson, I don't buy it. I still like Adamson. I still believe in this team that they can challenge for a Final Four slot. Although I see where Maui is coming from. Maybe talent-wise, they're not there with the upper echelon of the UAAP or with even the top 4 teams ni Maui. Maybe the Adamson lineup is not as stacked, diba? But I do believe in this Adamson team. I do love how tough they are. I do love how analytics-based they play. And they're just a pretty good and solid team. And I know if they don't look that good on paper. No, not a lot of young talent go to Adamson, as seen by how their high school stars did not choose to go
Shots
to
fired.
Adamson.
Wow.
Totoo naman. But Coach Nash and Coach Gilbert Lau, who I think does a lot of the coaching nowadays, always seems to get the most out of their lineup. And they're still pretty solid. This is essentially the same roster. Essentially. Diba? With a few pieces just replaced. But this is essentially the same roster that fought for a Final Four slot last season. So I don't see any reason why they're not number 5 or higher on any people's power ranking. So that's me. I'm still fighting for this Adamson fight.
Yeah, 3
I
years.
still believe in them.
3 years na. 3 seasons fighting for Adamson. Itong si Miss Sultan of Sando.
Let's go, Sammy.
Okay, I actually agree with Maui on this one. I had Adamson as number 6. So again, kaaway namin ulit si Gab. And the past 2 seasons, Maui and I have ended up eating our words, 'di ba? Lagi kaming napapahiya ng Adamson. They've always outperformed. And I think yun yung what you guys said about Adamson surprising teams. I think yun yung theme ni Coach Nash. If you read yung interview sa kanya, sabi niya, we're going to surprise teams. We're going to fight and keep things close, and hopefully we surprise them and get the win. So I think kahit si Coach Nash, alam niya na that's going to be their MO for season 87. If you compare them to UE, I think yung sa UE kasi, it's really like superstar power ni Precious Momoway. The rest of the team are question marks. Adamson definitely better than UE, though they don't have an FSA like Precious Momoway, but they have the star power in Manzano, and they have a very solid supporting cast. I think yun yung sinasabi mo, Gab, diba? Though yung veterans nawala, we've seen a lot of like the other guys step up then last year. Yun, napag-usapan na natin. And then new guys coming in that have been very solid this coming season, like si AJ Franzman, si Royce Mantua nga, sabi ni Maui. So, kahit maraming nawala, may mga very solid guys din na pumasok. So, I think that's why Adamson is ranked higher than UE. Gab, since you already mentioned UST, actually, you make a great point, diba? Because Adamson's system has been proven. Yung system ni Coach Nash has been proven. The players are proven already, very solid. We've seen a lot of them last season. Ako, I had UST number 5. So, preview yun. And why, siguro, bakit ko na-rank yung UST higher than Adamson kahit na hindi pa proven yung sa UST is nakakabulag yung star power, yung bright lights of
Agree
the star
naman.
power.
Agree naman. Talent-wise, mas marami sila than
Yeah.
Adamson. I
But
agree
not
there.
proven, no? Like, at least si Adamson has been proven team na to eh. Ito, nakakabulag yung star power ng UST pero we haven't really seen them play in an official UAAP game. But, yun. So, I get where Gab is coming from. But, Maui, curious to see, sino nga bang number 5 mo?
We keep talking about UST, di ba? So, that already gave a preview as my number 5 team. It's the UST Growling Tigers, di ba? I think I ranked them at this spot during the previous season, this high. So I'm ranking them.
Parang ni SJ Moore.
Magpapabudol na naman ako, pero things are better
Maui,
for UST. A lot better.
I think nung off-season, you ranked them higher, di ba? I think number 4 nung...
4.
Number 4.
Recent off-season.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we had that ranking of number 4. But I'm ranking them as the fifth team right now. And it's because I see I rank kasi the top diba, as I mentioned before Gab spoke kanina, I think yung top 2 teams in the UAAP are leaps and bounds away. But the other teams, all of them, including Ateneo, UE, these 4 bottom teams could compete for that Final Four slot. That's how competitive that third and fourth slot will be, in my opinion. I'm ranking UST above Adamson and UE and Ateneo just because of as they mentioned, yung star power, di ba? They have Forsky Padrigao coming in, who was a mythical team member. They have Paranada coming in. They have Zayn Mahmood. And I think the most important thing that I have to say, with Sammy touch on kanina, is they have a capable FSA in Mo Tongkara. Diba? That's something that they lacked the past few seasons. Diba? Last season, they basically played without
zero FSA. Yeah.
Without any FSAs, diba? So sila Eco Laure had to match up with the FSAs, and we saw what happened. They struggled to win games, diba? This is the season that Nick Cabanero is finally getting his help, diba? He has waited 2-3 seasons for this to happen. I'm actually surprised that he's still here, diba, right now. But I think he really wants to win and prove himself sa UAAP. This is the season that he could potentially show yung talent niya and maybe go pro after they make the Final Four. But they really have a very strong recruiting class, diba? Players like Asido, players like Paranada, Jeremy Robinson, and my favorite player from the offseason. I think all 3 of us love this player. Lilan Estacio really played well this offseason. We haven't seen a lot of Chase Lane, but si Iceland Ting also transferred from Ateneo, so capable shooter. So I really think that things are finally pointing out. I don't think this is like last season na sobrang na-hype tayo with that surprise factor, diba? Right now we have some capable names, some known names that we expect that have been proven in the UAAP, and we expect to really perform for UST. It's very important to have that capable FSA also to compete for that Final Four slot, diba? It's one of the main reasons why we rank Ateneo at number 8, because we haven't really seen Balogun against UAAP competition. The whole offseason has been out on most of the tournaments, including yung foreign tournament. And si Mo Tongkara really surprised me this offseason. I think he really played a good job into earning himself that spot over Peter Osak. That could spell the difference to making the Final Four, that correct choice in the FSA slot. So yeah, maybe nagpapabudol again, and we'll see where they land when the season ends.
Again, I had UST as my number 6 team. Over the likes of UE or Ateneo. I think they played okay in the preseason in Phil Oil. Again, just by talent alone, I think they deserve to be at number 6 for me. Now, Maui had them at number 5, but I give the edge again to to Adamson on this one. I just want to see them play a solid game in the UAAP. A UAAP game as a solid game, because that's still my question. The talent is there, but can Coach Pido get them to play the style of basketball that's perfect for them? We saw in the past season, the ISO style is not gonna work with Nick Cabanero or Christian Manaytay. So let's see if they can uh, execute better. No? They still struggled a lot with turnovers in Phil Oil. One of their first win was a buzzer beater by Nick Cabanero. So, but they did play well against La Salle and UP in their previous games during Phil Oil. So yeah, there's reasons to be optimistic, but I'm wary of being that optimistic at putting them at number 5 or above. I put them at number 6. I still trust the system, the proven system, the proven roster of Adamson. But again, I see where you guys are coming from. The talent and the additions this offseason for UST are nakasilaw, yung sabi nga ni Sam. Nakasilaw yung dami ng proven players and bright young blue chip recruits that entered UST in this offseason. So I'm excited. If I'm a UST fan, I'm excited. I want to see that go Uste roar again. We saw it briefly in the finals against in the women's division finals, the UP UST finals in the women's division. When the UST crowd roars with Go Uste, chills down your spine, and I want to see that again in the men's division.
The best crowd.
Yeah.
The best crowd in my opinion when they roar talaga.
Actually, it would be very interesting to see a jam-packed UP UST crowd. Like, that would be amazing. Diba? UP fight, tsaka Go Uste, nagsisigawan. Masaya yun. Let's do that this season. Go, Gab, sorry.
No, that was it. I have UST at number 6, Adamson at 5. So mukhang same ang top 4 nating lahat.
Mukha. I think so too. Meron tayong mga favorites dyan. But yeah, ako, nothing to add. Yun lang. It's really the stars of UST na medyo nakakasilaw, and siguro na-hype kami ni Maui. And I'm sure the UST fans are super hyped for this season din. So hopefully, bumalik na yung crazy Go Uste chance na yan. Abangan natin yan this coming season. Okay, moving on. Number 4. We're now done with our first half. Let's move on to the top half. Maui, I think pare-pareho na tayo dito.
Top 4 na. So my number 4 team is the team that really surprised me the most this offseason. Much like Ateneo, they started the offseason very poorly, and when their coach finally arrived, things just started to click, and we really saw a preview of their future. We really saw that they could be a potential dark horse power Final Four contender for this season. The FEU Tamaraws, diba? I think the entrance of Coach Sean Chambers has really changed yung landscape ng FEU. Things are finally looking up, not just because of all the foreign recruits, not just because of all of the foreign recruits, but because of the system that they ran during the offseason. It looks like the triangle offense could work in the UAAP. It looks like yung offense and defensive schemes ni Sean Chambers is really suitable for this FEU team. I really like what I've seen from this offseason sa rookies nila, especially VJ Pre, who's been from Gab's mouth, who Gab has been hyping up for the past 2 seasons sa juniors division. I really like what I've seen with John Ray Pasaol. I just like yung combination ng lineup ng FEU, and things are finally looking up. I think this is finally the season that they could fight for that Final Four slot. Again, I've been saying this as a joke the past few seasons. FEU cannot start at 0-5 if they want to get to the Final Four, diba? They have to start strong if they want to get to the Final Four. I think yung competition right now to get to the Final Four is not like previous seasons. I think all of the teams that I've mentioned, all of those 5 teams are capable enough to be able to make it to the Final Four. If FEU starts out poorly, then that could spell the difference of them being able to finally crack the Final Four slots. But I can't believe I'm saying this, diba? They lost LJ Gonzalez and Cyrus Torres, Patrick Sleet, 3 of their top players from the previous season. Diba? And we're ranking them very high on our power rankings. I think that's because of the brilliance of Coach Sean. That's because of the surprise of John Ray Pasaol and VJ Pre, how they've been able to transition this offseason. I'm actually interested to see how they will fare during the start of the UAAP season. Again, doing well in the offseason is nothing. Diba? You can still struggle when you get to the big stage, which is the UAAP season. Diba? But I'm excited. They have Joric Bautista coming back. They also have Cholo Ononuevo, who I've been high the previous seasons. They have that flexibility to play different types of lineups, fast, big. And I think si Gab would say this, they finally have a capable FSA. Diba?
Parang
Nowhere
UST,
to go. Nowhere to go but up. Diba? They have Mo Konate coming in, who has looked very good this offseason. Very stable, rebounds the ball pretty well, defends, can catch the ball, can finish inside.
Can catch the ball.
Can catch the ball.
Diba?
Grabe.
Grabe
They finally have that capable FSA, diba? And if that's one of the checklists of making to the Final Four in the UAAP, which we've been saying on the show from the start, diba? You have to have a capable FSA to be able to compete in the UAAP. It's very hard to only select teams are able to be successful without having a decent enough FSA. Gab, talk about your favorite team.
Well, you talk about blinding talent. This, I think, of all the teams, this FEU team has had the most influx of blinding talent. Just look at how the rookies have performed in the offseason. They're now the main guys on this team. And I'm just really excited to watch FEU. I'm a big fan of VJ Pre and Jan Ray and Joric, the big three. Those three are gonna carry the offense. And also, I'm very interested. A lot of hype is surrounding si Adam Nakay. They say he's a really good scorer. He's a shooter. I'm excited to see him. Cholo is still there. How will they integrate him? And
nagpo-poster daw. Di ba si Nakay? Malakas din daw tumalon.
Oo, may mystery players pa sila no? Yeah.
Here we go. So, and you mentioned it early in the episode, they got more Alaw for next season. Perhaps a backup point guard to once Royce Alforque finally departs. but this FEU team is a good mix of vets. They do have vets, although underperforming vets in Ona, Bagunu, Alforque, and they have good young talent. Great young talent, I would say. And you mentioned it, Maui. Konate he might not be in the same level yet as Precious Mamaway, a Henry Agonane, a Motong Kara, but you could see him climbing that rank. He racks up a ton of double-double. So I would see him. He may not look like it now, but I would not be surprised if he'll be part of the Mythical Five, just because of how much numbers he racks up. Rebounds, blocks, and points. Wow. Again, he's a very capable FSA. Yeah, I mean, I won't be surprised. He's that good to me.
Kung mag-suspend siguro si Momoway ulit, it could happen, di ba?
Posible,
I think that's the only thing that could prevent Momoway to finish in the mythical team this season.
Okay, fine. But yeah, blinding talent. This is such good young talent on this FEU team. And I'm really excited. Talk about hype. We're all three of us are hyped for this FEU team. Let's go FEU.
Let's go. Okay. Sige, I want to take this opportunity na to take a lot of credit for FEU kasi alam niyo guys, if listeners kayo dito, minsan lang ako tama. Basta yung team na pinili ko to win the championship, sure talo yun. Lagi akong mali sa mga picks ko. But when we did like our Pinoy Liga early reactions, or parang biggest surprises so far of the offseason. I picked FEU as a big surprise when they were not doing so well pa nung time na yun. So, as Maui mentioned, they started off really bad. But dun pa lang parang I was surprised at how ready like the rookies were at that time. And we've talked about it. Grabe yung spike or trajectory nila in coming from that like really bad start to this. And all three of us super hyped on FEU. I was gonna say something else. Sorry. Ayun, sorry. And good point. Cholo Año Nuevo, we didn't even see him the entire off-season, diba? So, hindi pa natin talaga fully nakikita itong FEU team and its full potential and yung mga mystery players pa nila. So, really exciting for FEU. I agree with this pick. I wanna say they're a lock for the Final Four. I sort of want to say that. Siguro the only challenge lang talaga is obviously these guys are rookies and sabi nga ni Maui, iba talaga yung off-season versus like playing in the actual UAAP season. So that's what we need to see. I think the first few games will be crucial for FEU. But there's one team that excites me the most this season. I think it's FEU. And eto pala, one final thing. You can watch the FEU Lock Maybe or Nah episode. But what we love about this FEU team the most, a lot of these guys, FEU high school, FEU juniors players, just building up these players and helping them transition to the college level. Really, really great program by the FEU sports program. Yeah, go Cap.
Good point, Sam. And that's another point that I wanted to make. You cannot teach chemistry. That's something you cannot recruit guys na may chemistry agad eh. That's something you don't teach in practice. That's something it's built through time. Time and experience builds chemistry. Hindi ka pwede mag-recruit lang ng bunch of players and then instantly be playing well together. But these guys, I assume they've been playing for years now.
Years.
Diba?
Yeah.
Years na Luke Felipe, Jedrick Janray Pasaol, Jorek, who I think was one of their seniors already yung back in high school when sina Janray were still young first-year players. VJ Pred, yung Janray, they've been playing for years together. And that's something that you cannot you can't recruit that. You can't recruit chemistry. You have to build that through time. And this is something that FEU has. They have chemistry right out of the gates. These guys, I'm sure si John Ray and si VJ Pre, they've been running with each other. They've been playing with each other since they were young teenagers. Diba? And that's scary. That's scary. Now they're still playing together, seniors division. They're still playing with each other now as the main guys for FEU. Watch out talaga. I'm so excited for FEU. Maui, you were saying something.
Yeah. I was checking kailan si Coach Gabby Severino lumipat ng FEU kasi I wanted to see if kasama siya sa planning, di ba? Kasi if there's a thing that was successful in Ateneo, it was having that farm team from the juniors division, diba? It was developing, as Gab mentioned, yung chemistry of these players who have played with each other throughout the years. It's gonna be interesting to see how that carries over to the UAAP seniors. But I think that's something that FEU fans can finally say that they can hope for them to make the Final Four. And even if they don't make the Final Four this season, I think yung arrow nila is pointing in the right direction, going up, diba? They have very young players who could be cornerstones of this top program, diba? It's scary to think about how this team could look like 2 to 3 years down the road, diba? This could be another FEU dynasty coming in.
Championship. Calling it. Championship. FEU.
Diba? This could be that that team that could really be that FEU dynasty, diba? They have that VJ Pre / Arwin Santos / Mac Bello type of player, diba? They also have that VJ Pre who when FEU was competitive, they always had that point guard also, di ba? From the den of Miranda.
Pasaol,
Ray, you
Pasaol.
mean?
John Ray, sorry,
Pasaol,
John
he
Ray
did.
Pasaol. John Ray Pasaol, so they have that steady presence at the point guard slot, di ba? If they can build up on those two, anything can happen, di ba? In the next seasons. But it's also interesting to see how many seasons VJ Pre will play in the UAAP kasi that's how highly we think of him. I think he has
Yun
that
lang.
he has
Yun
that
lang.
ceiling eh, di ba? He has that ceiling. Maybe John Ray Pasaol too, di ba? He was able to play na rin sa 3x3. Maybe he could go that Abarientos route, di ba? Who knows what happens if
Nako.
both of these players outperform. But it's scary to think about what could happen. Okay, let's move on to the top
Moving
three
on.
teams. The next team that I'm picking is the team that made the Final Four also from the previous season. It's the NU Bulldogs. I think yung reasons ni Gab for Adamson is the same reasons why we're ranking NU high, di ba? They have that stable coach and they have that stable system. They have most of their players coming in. But actually, I didn't tell this to you guys. I actually ranked them lower before where I ranked them right now at number 3. I ranked them at number 5 or 6 before I decided to make that last minute switch. We've been hearing rumors that Jake Figueroa could be out the whole first round. Diba? That could be a very big difference into to NU to start the season. They've lost Kian Baclaan, their top scorer from the previous season, and losing Figueroa this late into the off-season could spell the difference into them making it to the Final Four. I think si Jono Malalastas is primed to take that break, primed to
Manansala.
that break. Manansala, sorry. I make this mistake every time, yung Manansala and Manalastas. But I think he's primed to have that breakout season. I think si Coach Olsen Racela on the show on air has said this the past 2 seasons. He really likes how this guy plays, and I think this is a season that he could finally make that next step. Especially Figueroa. Figueroa is indeed out, diba? I think he has a broken something to do with his hand. It's late in the off season, and I think that could spell the difference to NU if they could make the Final Four. Kasi virtually a luck di ba? I think we can all agree. NU is virtually luck to make the Final Four, but if Figueroa is out, that could really be a big hit to NU. The question we always have with NU every offseason is could they make that leap to that top 2 slots? I would, sorry to say, but I have to say they will not be able to make that jump to that upper echelon of UAAP teams this season. Maybe they surprise me finally. Diba? Kasi wala na yung hope, wala na yung reason for me to believe that they could make that leap. But losing Kian Baclaan is really a big hit to NU in my opinion. He was virtually their best playmaker, their best player. We don't know what will happen with that point guard slot this season. Diba? Both of the players who are slated to get minutes are young players, diba, this season. But I'm excited to see what happens with NU. If there's a coach that has surprised us even more so than Coach Nash, it has to be the NU coach. Gab's favorite coach, the coach that always throws a tantrum. I just hope that he gives more leeway to the young players because now he has no choice but to give them some leeway to making mistakes and to building up. Thoughts, guys?
Well, I definitely agree. NU is number 3. I think we've said a lot about this NU team. They have a solid core. I agree with Maui. I think they're a lock to make the Final Four. The only wrinkle for me, I think this Jake Figueroa injury is actually a good thing. Because now they'll be forced to put the ball in the hands of another player who could perhaps be a secondary scoring option. Because that's always been the problem with NU, diba? Past 2 seasons was always give it to Kian, generate offense for us. The off-season, give it to Jake Figueroa, generate offense for us. That's always been how they've always struggled with offense. Just put it out there. They're a solid defensive team. They've struggled with offense. And that's how they've run their offensive schemes, especially in the clutch. Nahihirapan sila mag-score ng points because they usually do a one-man show. But now, without Jake Figueroa, they'll have to develop someone to score buckets for them. Maybe it's a Reinhard Tumamoy. Maybe it's a Jolo Manansala. Maybe it's a Paul Francisco, Justin Garcia. Who knows?
Your
But-
boy, PJ.
PJ Palacielo, who knows, pare? In the absence of Jake Figueroa, they might just find something that they can depend on. A secondary guy that they could run the offense through and not just rely on Jake Figueroa for baskets. So yeah, but I think we've said it. This score is definitely solid. It's definitely bound for the Final Four. I'm still in. The only laughable thing to me about this NU team, until now, hindi pa rin nila alam kung si Omar Jan o si Mo Diazana ang ila-line up nila.
Oh
Kasi
yeah,
yung
oo
official
nga
team-
pala. Good point.
Yung official team picture pa rin nila.
I forgot to say that. Tama, I forgot to say that nga. Shout out to our friend Omar John, di ba?
Gulatan na lang sa Sunday natin malalaman pag naglaro na sila, di ba?
Like, oh.
But yeah. I agree. NU lock. I agree with NU at number 3. Probably itong top 3 natin, or we would agree, are the locks to make it in the Final Four. For NU, actually, if you look at the last 2 seasons, during the first half of the season, or majority of the season, actually, NU would always end up in the top 2. It's just they always end really bad. They end poorly na they crash to number 3 or number 4 where they lose out yung top twice to beat advantage, no? So I think yun yung challenge for NU. It would be tough, no? So abangan natin kung ano yung balita kay Jake Figueroa, but we had him as a MVP contender sa season na to. So to lose an MVP contender will be very tough for NU. Fortunately, there's still yung lineup nila, marami pa rin silang veterans that they can rely on. And then, not just for season 87, but I think for the future, lagi naman maraming recruits yung NU. So, that's never been a problem. It's just that they've always been a solid team. It's just that they can't crack it to the finals. So, let's move on to the obvious top 2 teams. So, isabay na natin sila, Maui. Sino?
Samahan na natin yan. Alam
Yeah.
mo pa ng lahat kung sino yung dalawang yan.
Hindi lang natin alam sino number 1.
I wanted to say lang about NU, di ba? They're now the team that gets players from your juniors division. Di na sila yung nanakawan. Sila yung nagnakaw sa Adamson. They got Tebol Garcia, who we are very high on. I think
Tingnan natin. Collins ako
Tingnan natin si Cole. All eyes are on Cole.
That sweepstake will be something to watch out for. I think just some final thoughts on NU, I have to say lang. Kasi I really like yung point si Sammy. It's very concerning for me, di ba? Because they start the season pretty well every year. That's been the case the past 2 seasons. If Jake Figueroa is out and they don't start the season well and they still end it, then anything can happen, di ba? That's one of the reasons why I've been saying that teams like Ateneo, teams like UE, teams like Adamson and UST could, and FPU could really challenge for that 3 or 4 slot, di ba? That's just some last words. Now we go to the last two teams in our power rankings. This is probably the most undebatable top 2 in the UAAP. I think they have really established themselves in the upper echelon of the UAAP. My number 2 team is Salle, and my top team is UP. Diba? These 2 teams are very similar. They just defeated teams more. The level of competition that they have defeated this offseason is off the charts, diba? Both of these teams ran through everyone. I think yung winning margin ng teams na to is double figures in Pinoy Liga and Phil Oil, diba? With Salle, I think at one point having having a winning margin of more than 20 points in Pinoy Liga, diba? They had that luxury of even playing 2 different lineups, diba? In different days of Pinoy Liga, and still was still able to run through all of their opponents. I think the most impressive thing about this team is not just LaSalle beating a PBA team, diba? Because we all know the current state of the PBA and how they have struggled also with talent.
Ooh, yeah.
Diba?
Oh,
As a
yeah.
shout out,
I love it. Juicy.
they had the thing with the PBA is they had probably one of the top rookie classes coming in right now. So maybe that could change. Maybe everything could change. But LaSalle and UP have beaten teams abroad. Pro teams abroad, diba? I think UP had a string of 7, had a string of undefeated run in Europe, diba? LaSalle has been able to win the WBS. The level of competition there has risen, diba? As we've seen, Ateneo struggled last season. These two teams have really separated themselves and put them in another level in the UAAP. And it's interesting to see what will happen in the 3-game series. I will be surprised if these two teams don't make the finals, diba? Something catastrophic should happen for these two teams to miss the finals. These two teams could easily sweep the elimination round, in my opinion. But right now, I will not pick who will probably win the championship. That could be for another episode for us. But I'm ranking UP over LaSalle just because we saw them play 2 games during that Phil Oil tournament with most of their team there. I think LaSalle was only missing Phillips. But I really, UP is just on another level, di ba? LaSalle has Kevin Kiambao, LaSalle has Henry Agunane, Mike Phillips, but they don't have that versatility. They don't have that level of depth, level of talent in all positions. UP is strong 1 to 16, di ba? It's one of the reasons why we decided not to do a lock maybe or not, because we know that UP will have that 16-man lineup ready, di ba? If you saw the UP picture, the UP preview
18 nga sila
picture, they were 18 players.
Without QMB.
Without QMB, who arrived late this off-season. We've been also hearing a lot of rave about QMB, di ba, in our comment section. I think he's performing pretty well in that Taiwan tournament. UP is still ramping up, di ba? It's not like an off-season for UP. They're still ramping up. They're still playing tournaments. They're still playing. This team is scary, and that's why I put them at number 1. Much like last season, much like season 85, they're probably the favorites to win the championship, despite LaSalle being the defending champions, diba? We still have to see LaSalle and how they will be able to address that point guard issue. Losing a player in the caliber of Evan Nelly is very big, in my opinion. Kevin Kiambao will have to carry a bigger load from last season. He could probably rack up crazier stats than last season. We could probably put up a few triple doubles because that's how big that loss of Evan Nelly is. But right now, it's UP. At the end of the season, it could be different. Maybe it could be LaSalle. Diba? We still don't know what will happen in a 3-game series. We still don't know how UP will be able to integrate all of the talent, especially QMB, who arrived pretty late. It's going to be interesting to see which player from UP, from that 16-man lineup, will transfer after the season ends. I probably...
Yun na sana sabihin ko eh.
I would
Wow.
I would give it a plus minus of 3 players, diba? It's nothing against the UP program. It's just that it's too talented, diba? You cannot play all of those players. You cannot give meaningful minutes to all 16 players. I think that's been proven throughout the years. So I would say that some of these players are probably playing their last years in UP, despite having eligibility for the next season. But I really like how they have developed yung program nila. They're the number 1 destination easily right now. UP and LaSalle are 2 of the top destinations. It's one of the reasons why they are also the top contenders, diba? Players like Konov, players like Amos, there's a reason why they want to go to LaSalle. Players like QMB, players like Jacob Baila decided to go to UP. These are top recruits, the top of the bluest of the recruits, probably outside of Jared Bahay. And I'm excited to see their matchup. I think we have to wait for the end of the first round to see it, if I'm not mistaken. Thoughts, guys?
Gab.
Well, uh, stating the most obvious of the obvious. These are obviously the top two. Yeah, I had UP number 1 and LaSalle number 2. We've talked about these teams over and over in the off season. As Maui said it, Maui mentioned it. That was the only thing that was going through my head. It was the only thing to watch. I mean, we know this UP team already. It's basically the same lineup without Malik Diouf. There are immediate replacements already for CJ Cancino. We know they have a ton of guards and wings already. The interesting thing is, how will the lineup shake out? How will the rotation shake out for UP? Yung tama si Maui. UP fans don't want to hear it, but it's true. There are some guys in this team, because they're so talented, 1 through 16. The 14th, 15th, and 16th guy on this roster is probably too talented to be the 14th, 15th, and 16th guy on any UAAP roster. We saw it in Pinoy Liga. Come on. They were playing as a second lineup and still destroying teams. That's how talented this team is. So, tama si Maui. The rotation is something that's a question mark for UP. It will be interesting how Coach Gould handles that. I saw in their Taiwan tournament that they were starting Jacob Baila next to Francis Lopez. That's interesting. Meaning, one of Alarcon or Torres or Fortea, well, sure naman si Fortea wala, or si Denzel Walker is getting left out or getting a cut in minutes. So that will be interesting. If they really play Baila starters minutes, oh my God. That's scary for the other guys, for the other perimeter guys, no? But that's scary for the rest of the league too. If Jacob Baila is as advertised, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Talk about a 6'6" wing, diba? That he could play beside Francis Lopez. So that's interesting. Their logjam at center, I'm interested who gets the backup. I'm assuming QMB is starting. Right off the bat. I'm assuming that. It will be interesting who will get the backup minutes between Udodo, Alter, and Stevens. I'm not counting Agate. I don't think he's in the rotation. I don't even think he's in the lineup. So these three backups were sharing center minutes in the preseason and the off-season. Who will get majority of the playing time? And it can't be a time share between the four. 10 minutes each? I don't think that's realistic. I think QMB is a lock for 20 at least.
SBP style na, Gab. SBP style. Every 10 minutes, different lineup.
Iba.
Yung every quarter, yung iba yung center papasok. But kidding aside, that's really something they have to figure out, no? Alt Stevens was a starter for the early part of the season, was a starter in UE. Alter played well when he started.
Yeah.
Udodo played well.
Yeah.
Udodo played really well against Henry Agonane. Played well for most of the preseason. So there's still a logjam at center. I'm not worried about the absence of Malik Diouf. I think they've found 4 suitable centers who can probably in combination make up for it. But yeah, that's still a logjam. UP is still the most talented team. For LaSalle, we've talked about this. It's KQ. It's the best player in the UAAP with a very good supporting cast. Mike Phillips still there. Raven Cortez, Henry Agonane. Oh dear Lord, they're gonna be so scary. Their front line is so scary to match up with. I am not looking forward to an Ateneo LaSalle match up because Jesus, I think they're still gonna romp through Ateneo and it's gonna be very painful to watch, but we still have to watch it. Sammy.
Championship or bust. I think that's really the theme for these two teams. It would be a huge disappointment if they don't win a championship for either of these teams. And I would be shocked kung wala sa kanilang dalawa yung nag-champion. Kasi it seems like it's really a lock na one of these two teams will be the champion for this season. So, yun yung level of expectation natin sa dalawang teams na to. You can argue UP would be number 1 sa preseason power rankings. You could argue LaSalle. Doesn't matter, championship or bust for them. Second, I think yung crucial dito for both teams would be health. LaSalle, maybe that's also one of the reasons why LaSalle is here in the number 2 because UP has been healthier this off-season. Si LaSalle, they lost Josh David sa Phil Oil and one of the reasons then why maybe they struggled at the point guard position. I'm not sure, I haven't heard lately but how healthy he is, but that's a very crucial role for LaSalle. Last season, UP struggled a bit with injuries. Season prior to that, JD Kagulangan didn't even play nung first few games nung season. So, yung health yung kailangan natin bantayan sa two teams na to. Last thing regarding the being stacked no na potentially sabi ni Maui maybe some players from the 16-man roster could leave. Siguro just to add to that, going beyond season 87, guys, you have to remember may superstars na nakaabang in both teams. Sa UP, you have like Ray Remogat waiting in the wings. Sa LaSalle, you have like Kian Baclaan, Jacob Cortez, Mason Amos waiting in the wings. So, again, they're a very desirable destination. Not really great program. Nothing wrong with recruiting, pero just may chance din talaga na some people might leave. And nothing against both teams, diba? It's just if you want to get more playing time and you see yung prospects nila na papasok next season, there might be a reason for you to leave. But that's it. I think just to wrap it up, our power rankings prior to the start of the season, a week before the start of UAAP season 87. Number 1, UP. Number 2, LaSalle. Number 3, NU. Number 4, FEU. Number 5, UST. 6, Adamson. Gab strongly disagrees with that. Number 7, he thinks Adamson should be higher. Number 7, UE. Number 8, the Ateneo Blue Eagles. That's it for our GiddiYap's power rankings. We'll see you again next time. See you around sa UAAP
1
season
week,
87.
6 days to go,
6
boys!
days to go.
Let's
If you
go!
see us, say hi. Say hi, okay? Sige.
Tapos na ang pagtitiis.
Oo nga, tapos na. Like, comment down below pala. Ano power rankings nyo? If you disagree, any other info that you wanna share, kita-kita tayo sa UAAP season 87. Bye-bye!